This story comes from the point of a girl. When I was 7 years old, I loved to go to McDonald's with my mom. This one day, the particular day, we went to McDonald's. We sat down in the McDonald's, ordered, and I forgot to remind you guys that when we first pulled in, we saw a Jeep. We didn't think too much of it. We went inside the McDonald's, sat down and ordered. And then when I noticed, I looked over and I saw that a man had gotten out the Jeep and he walked over to the door, and I didn't really think too much of it again. When we was finally done ordering, we went to the door and the man was still there. We was confused why he would just be standing there and not ordering. And we looked back and saw none of the cashiers there, so something like we could do about it by then, but whatever. My mom actually walked up to the man, and I thought, what is she doing? Is she crazy? For a few seconds, she was standing there, and for a few seconds, she was standing there, and then she suddenly screamed. I was confused why she would scream because there was no reason, but then she started running, so I ran with her. Ran and drove into the car and went home. Later that day when we got home, she said that the man had no face. His face was all black. I thought she was crazy or something, but she reminded me that she wasn't lying. Later that night when I was in bed, I heard a sudden noise. It was a creak from my closet. I ignored it though. I heard the sound about 5 more times. I was confused, so I got up and looked in my closet, and I saw nothing in there. So I thought, maybe it's like a draft where I was like, sleeping too late and stuff, but it wasn't really too much to think of. Not until I heard it again. And then suddenly the closet just creaked open and it rushed open. And then when I looked over, I saw the man from earlier ran out the house. And I screamed, the most scream ever you could hear. I screamed and ran to my mom's room. I told her what happened and she started freaking out. She called the cops, but my story doesn't end there. A few weeks later, I was in my room sitting down, playing some Nintendo. When suddenly I looked out my window and I saw a black figure out there. I was like, am I seeing things? But I probably wasn't seeing things. And then I started to realize that was the guy from the McDonald's. I went over to my my mom's room again, and I told her about it. She called the cops again, and the cops searched the whole property and found nobody. We was confused why this kept on happening. It doesn't end there either. A few days later, we was driving on the road with my mom. We was going back home. It was 2 a.m. We were exhausted for doing errands. When all of a sudden we saw a deer run across the road. But we thought it was a deer until we got closer. It was a black figure. And then my mom noticed it to be the man again from that McDonald's that followed us. She didn't know what to do at this point. She just tried to ignore it. But this is the scariest part. This part would never leave me. I won't forget it until this day. So, when we got home, I went to go lay down after dinner and washing up and everything. I went to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night, expected it to be school time, but instead I looked at my clock and it was only 1 a.m. I thought, maybe I just woke up out of nowhere. So, I went back to sleep. But then I was interrupted by a noise from under my bed. And then I heard like some weird noises under the bed and stuff. And then I thought I heard somebody get up. And then I took a peek out from my covers and saw that dude. He was staring at me. He was really staring at me. He was looking over the covers. And he was looking directly at me. I really wanted to scream at that moment, but I didn't know what he was going to do to me. So I decided just to keep quiet about it. And then a few seconds later, he walked out the house. Immediately, I went to my mom and told her again. This time she thought I was lying for some reason, but he called the cops anyways. The cops told us to call back if anything happened because they found nothing. And then it doesn't end there. A year later from that day, we was outside. I was gardening for my mom and stuff, and then we saw a car pull up outside. My mom didn't really realize because it was the red Jeep. And then when she realized that it was actually that red Jeep that was there like a few months and years ago, she was confused as why the thing went away for a year. So she called the cops and told her that happened again. The cops were furious this time. They didn't know what to do. So they decided to put a cop on guard for 3 hours outside. Nothing happened and the cop left. But the story doesn't end there either. Let's say about a couple weeks after that day, I was in my room playing some more Nintendo when I looked over to the neighbor's house and I saw someone's knocking on my door. Yes, sorry about that, but yes. A few weeks later, me and my mom were driving in the car, and then we nearly wrecked when we saw that black figure from the McDonald's in the back of the car. When we pulled over, we saw nothing. We were confused though. The black figure never showed up again.